There could be a major breakthrough tonight in the case of little Madeleine McCann, plucked from her bed while her parents were having dinner just steps away. Authorities have taken a new look at this high-profile case and tonight announced a new timeline along with computer-generated pictures of a person of interest they have some questions for. ABC's Lama Hassan is at the crime scene with the latest details.
My shoe.
That is your shoe.
By the time the world first met 3-year-old Maddy McCann, she was already missing, taken from her bed in this resort.
We beg you to let Madeleine come home. Please give our little girl back.
For 6 years, it has remained a terrifying mystery. But today, for the first time, there were new images that seemed to offer a glimmer of hope as Scotland Yard announced a new person of interest.
If they know who this person is, please come forward.
New optimism.
I still genuinely believe that there is a possibility that she's alive.
And a massive new effort to finally bring her home. Tonight on Britain's version of America's Most Wanted, a 25-minute reenactment of what police believe happened the night Maddy vanished.
Primarily what we sought to do from the beginning is try and draw everything back to zero, if you like. Try and sort of take everything back to the beginning.
It all began on May 3rd, 2007. Maddy's parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, both doctors, had come to Praia da Luz, Portugal, with Maddy and her twin siblings for a week's holiday with friends. They put the kids to bed here, then went to eat at the resort's restaurant, almost within eyesight of the apartment, just 150 feet away. From time to time, one of the parents would come check on the kids. At 10 p.m., Kate did come, only to find that window wide open and Madeleine gone.
I guess I was looking at Madeleine's bed and I couldn't make her out. And then I realised actually she's not in that bed. And I thought, oh, I wonder if she's woken up, gone through to our bed. She wasn't in our bed. And that was the first time where I guess, a panic kicked in.
Maddy's princess blanket and her pink cuddle cat toy, all that was left behind.
She was wearing pyjamas almost identical to these ones.
What happened during that dinner became crucial to the time frame in this investigation.
We know that at 8:30, that was the time that Mr. and Mrs. McCann went down to the tapas area for their dinner, and we know that at around 10 p.m. that was when Mrs. McCann found that Madeleine was missing.
Jerry and I would just like to express our sincere gratitude and thanks to everybody, but particularly the local community here who have offered so much support. I couldn't have asked for more. I just want to say thank you. Please continue to pray for Madeleine.
For 6 years, Scotland Yard believed Madeleine had been taken at 9:15 by this unknown man, as described by a witness. But now police believe they finally found that man who was simply carrying his own daughter. Look at a photo of him compared to the artist's impression.
It is uncannily similar. We're almost certain now that this sighting is not the abductor. But very importantly, what it says is that from 9:15, we're able to allow the clock to continue to move forward.
Forward to 10 p.m. when other witnesses said they'd seen another man coming from the Ocean Club carrying a child. He was walking down this hill and heading toward the beach, less than half a mile away. So, could this have been Madeleine and her abductor?
He was a white man with brown hair, and the child that he had in his arms was described as being about 3 to 4 years of age with blonde hair, possibly wearing pyjamas. A description very close to that of Madeleine McCann.
Of course, at the time, no one knew all of this, and public outcry was swift against the parents. Even Oprah seemed appalled they had left their kids alone.
And I'm sure you have beaten yourself up many times over that.
I can persecute myself every day about that, and I feel awful that we went there.
With English tabloids beating the drum, Kate and Jerry McCann, who were described by some as aloof and unfeeling.
It was such a relaxing holiday. It was as good a holiday as we have had with the children up until that point.
Quickly came under suspicion by the Portuguese police.
Kate McCann is expected to be formally declared a suspect over her daughter's disappearance.
Particularly after lab results were misinterpreted by authorities to mean that Maddy's DNA had been found in their car.
They have suggested that blood has been found in a hire car that they hired 25 days after Madeleine was taken.
Kate and Jerry McCann were eventually completely exonerated.
We're not the ones that has done something wrong here. It's the person who's gone into that apartment and taken a little girl away from her family.
Neither her parents or any of the members of the group that were with her are either persons of interest or suspects. They are parents who have lost their daughter, and we're doing all that we can to bring resolution for them to find out what has happened to Madeleine.
Almost lost in all the hoopla were witnesses who reported having seen the man carrying a child at 10 p.m. and other witnesses who reported a suspicious man or men hanging around outside the door of the apartment. It would also turn out there had been a rash of burglaries happening in that neighborhood around that time. Unfortunately, some experts now agree opportunities were lost in the early hours. No roadblocks were set up to stop cars.
The ferry ports were not closed for approximately 12 hours until after Madeleine's disappearance.
The scene of the kidnapping was not preserved so that forensic experts could get pristine samples, and the trail here in Portugal seemed to grow cold.
We need to know what's happened.
That didn't stop the family, who gave this interview to Sky TV, hired investigators, and kept up the effort to keep Maddy's name alive.
Everything we've done during the last 100 days is focused on the belief that Madeleine was alive when she was abducted.
And we're not going to be bullied into going home.
At the end, whatever anyone thinks of our actions, ultimately, and our only focus is trying to find Madeleine. And there's an innocent child missing. That's what anyone thinks. That's the key thing. Madeleine is missing.
There were possible sightings reported all over the world, in Germany, even in Morocco.
Y ver una niña muy rubia, nos llamó muchísimo la atención.
But now Scotland Yard is hoping their new leads and a television programme being broadcast tonight in the UK
This is Crime Watch.
will prompt someone to call in.
The EFITs are clear, and I'd ask the public to look very carefully at them. Well, we, in consultation with our Portuguese colleagues, are absolutely committed to finding out what happened to Madeleine McCann. And we've been in a unique position over the last 2 years in drawing together 3 strands, Portuguese, UK and private investigators' material. From that, a vast quantity of material has been analysed, and we have identified 38 persons of interest.
Scotland Yard has a team of 37 men and women working this case, and they say they don't plan to stop.
We've now processed some 30,000 documents, and some of those documents could have, say, 1 page, some of them have got hundreds of pages. From that, you'll recall last year that I said we had 195 investigative opportunities.
The parents of Maddy McCann, who have marked the passing years with artists' projections to imagine what their daughter might look like today, take hope from this projection.
I don't think it looks like me.
That's JC Dugard, missing 18 years, who finally escaped from her kidnappers. And this one, Elizabeth Smart, who also was finally found alive.
Today is a wonderful day, and I'm so thrilled to be here.
2 real-life reminders that sometimes a little girl does get to come home again to the room her parents have kept for her all these years. For Nightline, I'm Lama Hassan in Praia da Luz in Portugal.